The one, the only King Ricochet, and you are listening to State of Pro Wrestling.
Jackson, you're tuned in to State of Pro Wrestling. Follow me on social media at the Young Gun RJ. Thank you very much.
You know, my man is the greatest. My man, he does.
Hello, fellow pro wrestling fans. My name is Freddie Fredericks, and we are live here from the gym at the hotel here in Milwaukee. We are joined today, the Mayhem Marathon of interviews, by the man from 3 count knockouts and 3 counts. I've been getting knocked around all night. I've been on a crazy shift. A man who's been on a 10 times crazier shift sits over here. His name, Kyle Collison. Honor for you to join us here tonight, Kyle. Thank you. How are you doing?
Not bad, man. Thanks for having me in the first place. It's cool to be joining you guys. Ready to see what you guys want to talk about.
Yeah, it's been grateful. As I watch the intro there, I think of all the years, all the different things we've done here at State of Pro Wrestling, how we've crossed paths maybe back in the day, the podcast network and everything there through Detroit and kind of the wrestling fans and following you and knockout in 3 counts ever since. It has been great to see your journey. You've been on fire this last 6 months, absolutely, and especially, like you said, this last couple of weeks, especially been amazing. Seeing you get these press passes to WWE events has been the coolest thing ever. Like, so much love and support and inspiration seeing you do your thing, man, and living it, man. A testament to what is possible here. How was the last bring fans up to date on what you've been up to lately?
So yeah, man, it's we've started 2024 off pretty good. I got to finish 2024 getting my first chance at getting a credential for WWE. I was in at Survivor Series when CM Punk returned. I also got to do the Royal Rumble as a credentialed. I've been working a little bit with bodyslam.net, so hopefully there'll be some more things coming out soon with that, whether that be articles or things of such. As I mentioned, I just today was at Astronomicon. Shout out to Astronomicon for having us. I chatted with Matt Riddle today for something that'll be dropping soon. I also chatted for a couple minutes with Matt Hardy. Didn't get to talk with him for very long, but I got some stuff with him as well. And then, yeah, man, as far as guests, yeah, we've been doing pretty well as far as guests lately. Like I said, man, shout out to everybody that checks us out on Knockouts and 3 Counts. We're live Tuesdays and Thursdays, 9 p.m. Eastern. We do pro wrestling, but we also do combat sports as well. So you never really know who you could see on the other end of the screen from me. It could be people from UFC, it could be people from Bellator, it could be people from WWE, AEW, Ring of Honor, as well as the indies. So yeah, man, I am I just got back from Philly as well, so I've got my wrestling fill in the last 2 weeks pretty much.
Man, amazing. What an adventure. Oh, friends of the Squared Circle, Cran Dirk, how you doing today? You got any questions for our friend here, Kyle Collison? Let us know, man. Quite an adventure. Cran Dirk does interviews as well. She's show, Friends of the Squared Circle. Oh, yeah. Very excited. And seeing you guys do knockouts and 3 counts has been very cool. The roots of State of Pro Wrestling was going to be a little pro wrestling corner of an MMA page. And all the MMA people quit. And it's been cool seeing you guys, how you incorporate that. I haven't really kept up with much MMA these past couple of years, but it was cool a couple of weeks ago. You guys had a few special guests, and it was cool to just kind of dive back into the scene there that you guys have in Michigan. It looked like a lot of things were really popping off over there, and some great action, some great matchups. And it got me back into it. I was sitting there watching their Facebook Live like, yeah, get him, don't let him up. Like just that fire was back. And I appreciate that crossover kind of that you guys bring, that unique perspective that you guys bring to the game.
Yeah, man, I appreciate that. When we started the show, the origins of our show were Kyle's chat. I know wrestling from the 313. I see here in the comments from friends from the Squared Circle. With that said, yeah, man, we cover both wrestling and combat sports because I have been training since I was like 13 years old. I'm actually in the process of trying to get myself back in the gym because I'm on a normal schedule for the first time since I was like 18. So I hopefully will be training some more myself, but that's the origins of our show. And that I was working midnights at the post office. I didn't have really much to do. Nobody, you know the deal. As you get older, people want to go do stuff, and then anytime you want to go do stuff, then when you can do it, other people can do it, and so on and so forth. So I went to WrestleMania 33 completely by myself, and then I went to WrestleMania. I went to all that stuff by myself, and then with the original 4 of our show being my buddy Devin McKenzie, Kyle Campbell, Kevin Russ, and myself. Devin had me come on his show at the time, and when he did so, I found out that he was a big MMA fan, and like I said, with my back doing that stuff and then the pro wrestling thing, that's kind of how knockouts and 3 counts came to be, because Devin called my bluff thinking that I didn't know the people in MMA in the scene around here in Michigan. And as far as our scene here, you're right. I was also just on commentary on pay-per-view. What up, though, Bree, a regular listener of our show. I was on commentary just last night for Lights Out Championship on Lights Out Championship 15 on Spectation Sports. So yeah, like I say, it was a long weekend. Like I said, I was at the Comic-Con, drove 3.5 hours to go do the fights, did the fights, drove 3.5 hours back, got up, went and did the Comic-Con again this morning so I could do the interviews with Matt Riddle and all that stuff. So your boy is grinding.
I thought I was working hard. I thought I had a rough schedule, man. And that's why I love you, man. You're such an inspiration.
I just am grateful to have the opportunity to be doing this stuff, man. And, again, shout out to everybody who, has really shown love, like Bree and them, who, have shown love to what we do both inside and outside the show. So, like I said, man, it's been cool. And the podcast has definitely taken me places that I never really should have been or would have thought I would have been. And I'm sure we can get into that.
Yeah, very cool, man. Yeah, you guys got a great team over there. I love the combination of different personalities and just the vibe you guys bring with it. And then bringing the guests in and kind of allowing them in that space that you guys have created has been amazing to see, man. I love it. Let's see. With the MMA, you said the commentating, we just talked to Tyler Peters at the last hour. How did you kind of fall into the commentator thing, or was that something you always imagined?
So commentary is something I always wanted to do, but something that I never thought I would do or thought that I would necessarily be so good at. I guess broadcasting in general is something I always wanted to do. So like as a kid, I grew up watching Sports Center. I watched Sports Center all the time. I've watched wrestling since I was like 6, but sports was always a huge thing for me because I grew up with cerebral palsy and Crohn's disease and all those kind of things. So with that being said, it's like the two of those were always kind of parallel. Obviously, once I started doing the show, I watch a lot more wrestling and MMA than I watch anything else. But that was kind of something I always wanted to do. And then I got a call about doing college wrestling, and so I did that, never having done it before. That was cool. And then shout out to Matt Friendo, who I was calling his fights last night, but they put a thing out saying they needed a commentator. And so I said I could do it. And so I've now called I called another 12 fights last night. So I've done probably like 150 fights or so. And then I just got to do, I got to do my first, pro wrestling one with, D'Lo Brown from the Nation. Shout out to UCW. I will be back on commentary for them as well. We've been just kind of ironing some stuff out because it's just so happened the last couple times it's been like on the same day as I was already booked to do a fight. So,
all right. Yeah, man, you've been a busy guy. You said you just got back from WrestleMania week. Any special things, special memories from your time out there in Philadelphia?
oh, dude, of course. I shout out to my guy Megaran. This is like the 4th or shit, I don't even know how many WrestleManias at this point.
Nice.
WrestleMania and that weekend really has been a place where we've been able to link up and catch up, and that's where I've gotten a lot of our guests done. Like this Thursday we're going to be joined at 9 p.m. by Zach Call from Downstate, the guys who do Cody's theme song and Matt Cardona's theme song and all those things. They will they'll be joining us soon. And then like I said, we get to meet so many people from that. I met him when we were on the floor at WrestleMania with Megaran.
Nice.
But like I said, it was a good time, man. I got there Thursday. I was supposed to go to the WWE World, missed that Thursday, ended up at Bloodsport. Bloodsport was insane. Shout out to past guests of the show, Lindsay Snow and Shayna Baszler, who was doing what she was doing. That was badass. Friday, I was at Ring of Honor for Ring of Honor Supercard. Shout out to Ring of Honor for that one.
Nice.
We also did Wale Mania, which has become like a staple of WrestleMania week for me. So that was really cool. Got to be backstage and all that stuff. And then obviously WrestleMania, we went and checked out the Busted Open Party Saturday morning in the US in the ECW arena. And then I see the questions in there. I got you. But yeah, we did that. And then WrestleMania itself, we were on the floor, and then ended up in the hotel bar, kicked it with some past guests of the show, Miranda Gordy and her brother Ray Gordy. I ran into Cedric Alexander, my friend Big Swole, Faye Jackson, a whole bunch of people. And then Monday, I just thank you, Kofi Kingston. If you see this, thank you, Megaran. Megaran's cool with Kofi, and Kofi's family. We got linked up with tickets from them. That's how I was at Raw as well. So, dude, it was a wild weekend.
Very cool. Very cool. Super jealous, man. I was really hoping to make it out there this year. But yeah, let's jump into those questions. Friends of the Squared Circle ask any MMA stars who you think could be wrestlers who would be.
Well, we've already seen some like Ronda Rousey, Brock Lesnar. But if we're talking current stars that maybe could transition, I think
who's that?
I guess middleweight. That's it. You talking about Strickland?
Yeah, exactly. I think
Yeah, I mean, bro, MMA and wrestling are a lot, and I mean it's obvious by the fact that TKO now has UFC and WWE. I mean, the crossover is a lot more than people would like to admit. There's a reason why you see so many go one way and so many go the other way. Like see, there you go. First thought was Strickland.
yeah,
We got to chat with Miranda Maverick from the UFC, and she had trained to be a wrestler. It just she was kind of waiting her MMA career out to see where it was going to go before she made a switch. But she was training to do that while she was fighting. So I mean, there's a lot of crossover. I think somebody like. I could see. I mean, dude, there's so many of them that could go back and forth.
Sure.
But yeah, Strickland would be one. You've got Conor McGregor. You've got. I mean, obviously he's smaller, but I mean, if you're talking about big guys, I mean, dude, at this point you got. I mean, not that I think he'd ever go over there, but you got. I mean. Daniel Cormier would be a big one. I mean, we've already seen him referee. We've already seen him commentate. Malachi, and then on the other side, if you're talking about wrestlers that could do MMA, I mean, Malachi Black does train at, his school does Muay Thai and wrestling out of it. He's a trained Muay Thai fighter and things like that. So obviously, yeah, he could definitely go back and forth. We've already seen CM Punk make the same move, whether he did well or he didn't. But I mean, the thing is, here's the thing I'll say for all the people that hate on that stuff. Until you've been inside a cage and trained and seen what a fight camp is like and all those things, did he do so great in those fights? Maybe not. But at the same time, he fought Mickey Gall, who Mickey Gall is an absolute savage. His first fight. Second fight, he might have gotten a little bit of an easier fight. But again, this isn't pro wrestling when you're going in there in MMA. Like there is no, and again, not to say you don't get hurt in pro wrestling, but let's face it, dude, you put it all on the line. And if you get knocked the fuck out, you get knocked the fuck out. And that's, that's what it is. So I think that there's a lot more that could do it maybe than people would think, but it all just depends on who would do it. I mean, Bryan Danielson would be another one. A lot of people don't know that Shinsuke Nakamura has fought. A lot of people don't know that Alberto Del Rio has fought. Like, there's a lot more than people would think. Chad Gable's another one. I got to chat with Chad Gable in Tampa.
Minnesota guy.
Chad Gable would do very well because of his wrestling background. Those guys and girls who have that wrestling background. I mean, and you've heard Joe Rogan say it on multiple occasions. Like he thinks wrestling is the best background for MMA. And so therefore, for that reason, guys like Chad Gable and stuff like that would kill it.
Yeah, it's been wild seeing their, especially their conditioning and training and everything. I always thought that was one of my favorite aspects or inspiring aspects of watching MMA, and what those guys do is that relentless dedication and everything, almost like that Kobe level of pushing yourself to that next level and everything, or putting yourself out there, to be knocked out, embarrassed in front of everybody or whatever, so much respect to CM Punk for chasing his dreams and everything like that. Michael Jordan went and played baseball,
Do what you want. You only got so much time in this life. I mean, if I wasn't going after trying to do what's going on, if I didn't try to go do what's going on with what we're doing at Knockouts and 3 Counts, man, I mean, I wouldn't be doing half the stuff I'm doing. So you only got so much time, dude. Do stuff you enjoy.
Beautiful, man. Beautiful. Anything you want to plug? Any projects you've been doing lately or interviews you want fans to check out that haven't checked you out before?
Well, first of all, shout out to you guys for helping hook it up. And I think I've got a few people that I'm going to send his way. But, I just did the one with Greg Gagne. That was really cool. It was funny seeing him try to get all set up with the Zoom box and everything. But yeah, man, it was cool to chop it up with Greg Gagne, and we talked about him training Tiffany Stratton and obviously Remco Toys and all those things. I just got to have my buddy Mega Ran back on there. Like I said, we'll have Downstate back on there. We will be doing some more stuff bare knuckles, so I know I'm gonna bring BKFC champion Christine Faria back on there.
Nice.
Look here, after the way things were in Philly, I don't know that it's going to be announced in Minnesota. I've also heard Vegas, so
Yeah.
I don't know, man. I think we could be in Vegas because I'm telling you from being
They
in the
swerve
arena.
us?
Well, I don't think it's so much that it's a swerve, but after what happened in Philly, I mean, everybody was saying, "Oh, this crowd is so whack." Well, dude, that's because it was cold as fuck.
Okay. But Minnesota's indoors, but yeah, it is cold as fuck. Most people would be like my relatives from Florida are like, we are not going up there until it's like at least 80 or 90. I understand. It was
No, man, like I said, WrestleMania is WrestleMania. It's cool. I like I said, it's become like the yearly trip for me. I get to, it's like the one time a year that you meet up with people from all over the place, dude. And like I said, we all love pro wrestling. Obviously, you do. Your show is called State of Pro Wrestling. So with that being said, I mean that pretty much sums it up. At this point, it's just cool to be around the magic of that. And if it gets down to Minnesota, I'll see y'all in Minnesota. And yeah, man, like I said, now that it's kind of stretched out into that whole week thing, it just there's so much to do, so much to see, like the indie shows and WrestleCon and all the stuff. You could literally go to a show. You could go to 2 to 3 shows every day. Like if you wanted to go there just to watch pro wrestling, you could do that. There's so many different parties that are down there. So if that's what you wanted to do, you can do it. Again, I would highly recommend Wally Mania. But dude, you had like the Blue Meanie had parties. You had Matt Riddle had parties. You had watch parties that were at the ECW arena. If you couldn't go to WrestleMania because of how expensive the tickets are, like bro, there was so much stuff. So like I said, it's just a great time to be a fan. If you really enjoy wrestling and aren't looking at it as like, oh, AEW versus WWE, like that's another thing that's been crazy to me. It's like, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that there's not been some things on AEW where I'm like, what the fuck are you doing? But at the same time, like if they all thrive, then wrestling as a whole is better. So I by no means want anything to happen as far as the AEW. I think the more places there are for wrestlers to work, you have a better market, as of what you can see already with UFC. I mean, look at it now that PFL is doing what they're doing. You know what I mean? You got PFL, you got Bellator. The more places that there are that are really a competition. Obviously, the UFC is on the same level as WWE, where they're like the big dog of the MMA world. But I'm saying that to say that like the more places there are, the better. So I don't want to see them go anywhere. But it's crazy how fans are so like that, because at this point, dude, like I said, I think it's unarguable that we're getting some of the best wrestling that we've gotten. As far as for me, man, like I said, check out Knockouts and 3 Counts Tuesdays and Thursdays, 9 p.m. Eastern. Make sure you check us out on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, all the shits. With that, I also just want to say, like I said, shout out to you guys for having me on. And, like I said, anybody that listens to this, you can do the same thing, man. Just, if you got a microphone, if you got a computer, if you got any of that stuff, pick it up. You never know where that could take you on the other end of it. I mean, that's why our show has had everybody from wrestlers to fighters to, I'll leave you with this. My favorite story that we've had from the show, really, shout out to Darren McCarty as well, who's another big supporter of ours.
Nice.
He comes through all the time, but like Chris Cale from 5 Finger Death Punch, dude, my dad crashed the car on the way to their concert on the last show that my dad and I had went to. My dad has since passed. A buddy of mine, Justin James, who was fighting in the UFC at the time, linked me up with Chris Cale from Five Finger Death Punch. Justin was getting ready to do his last fight in the UFC. Chris heard the show and then heard the story about my dad, came on the show, and then when they came here to Michigan, he invited us backstage, gave us tickets, and now, as you can see on the wall in my studio, there's a Chris Cale jersey with the ticket and the backstage pass, all from getting to do this show. So, I mean, if it weren't for this show, man, I wouldn't be getting to do a lot of the things I'm doing.
Getting goosebumps, man. That's why I appreciate following you and your story and everything you've done, man. I think you are evidence of that. If you really like go for something and you want something and you put yourself out there, I feel like the universe has little ways of dropping you or whatever you believe in, you know, as ways of rewarding you for that sort of
hard work does pay off, man. Sometimes not the way we'd like it to or as quickly as we'd like it to. But I mean, the biggest thing I can say is consistency, man. You keep doing it and people keep seeing you around it and keep seeing your face in the scene and being out there. And I mean, just be a good human, man. It's that simple. Be a good human. It doesn't have to matter about, you know, what you believe, what you don't believe. Everybody's got their own beliefs. I've got my own beliefs. But with that being said, if you're a good human and you try to put good back out into the world, and like you know, linking us up with Greg Gagne, or, you know, I've linked other people up with other interviews and things like that too. So it doesn't need to be about, oh, who can do what. The more you try to help other people, good comes back to you. So that would be my other advice if you're trying to do that stuff. Like, you know, don't ever try to withhold something so that you can stay one up on somebody else, because you never know the dumb connections that somebody else might make, and you being cool to them, you know, could open that door for yourself. Plus, I live by a motto of if I can't help somebody else, how can I expect somebody else to help me? Now, there's also a line for that, obviously, but you know what I mean? Take it for what you will.
Absolutely, man. I appreciate you. We're always talking about that, how we want to help uplift. Tonight, we had a couple new Norse correspondents getting a shot here today on the show. Lex and Saul getting their first shot. They were so excited to do their first interviews here tonight. So, yeah, cool to help.
Shout out to them.
Just help share, and grateful to have the guest list. Grateful to have you here today and sharing your story with all the fans. Any last quick words before we get going here?
No, man, just like I said, make sure you follow the show Tuesdays, Thursdays, 9 p.m. You can find me on following. Hey, man, I appreciate it too, dude. You can find us at KO3C Pod on Instagram and Twitter. You can find me at Detroit Knockout. Like I said, I appreciate the support from you guys, man, and wish you guys nothing but the best as well, man. And if you ever need any help from my end of things, let me know.
Absolutely, man. As we continue to grow this year, got a few more things coming together really this summer. Excited to hopefully shoot you some more messages, collaborate content creative-wise, or maybe make our way over to Detroit and see what's going on in the MMA world too. Would be really cool.
Come on with it.
And the wrestling scene, out there. We heard about some wrestling.
Come on with it. We got both out here in the Motor City, man.
Absolutely. Everybody, Kyle Collison, knockouts and 3 counts. Thank you for joining us. JD, did you want to jump in, ask any final questions, or plug Mayhem Media as well?
Well, you know, I'll never miss a chance to come on and plug my show. As you see my mom in the background. Sorry, wrong timing there. But that's how
all good. I'm in the crib too. I'm just in a separate room.
Yeah, so that's how it is. You know, I mean, that's how it is. Our studios are our houses, our kitchens, our dining rooms, our bedrooms, wherever we. Sometimes they're gyms.
It's the gym at the hotel.
So hey, wherever it is. But I'll come on, plug Mayhem Media. Check out Mayhem Media. We're on Facebook, YouTube, and Rumble. We do a show also, and we don't just do wrestling. Although we're about to launch a brand new show that is going to be wrestling every 2 weeks. That'll be coming out in the next couple of weeks. But we cover all entertainment, TV, movies, sports, everything. So if you ever want to change it up from wrestling, definitely find Mayhem Media.
Hell yeah.
And I'll let you close it out, Freddie.
Awesome, man. Thank you, JD. Much love to JD and everything he does. Help make this vision possible for us every week. Help me focus in. Oh, there you go. Get the links up there. You can check out all the different platforms, knockouts and 3 counts. Man, continue to watch them climb and the excitement. Dude, just today you were talking about Matt Riddle and Jeff Hardy. I'm super jealous, man. I want to go out in Milwaukee and find some wrestlers.
Hey, man, you got to be on the grind. If there's one thing I learned, they ain't going to come to you, so you got to get to stepping.
Absolutely, man. Well, thanks again for joining us. Fans, thank you for joining us. Have a great night, everybody. We'll be back in another hour. Wrestle Verite. Saul and oh my goodness. I'm spacing. It's been a long day as well. I need to go catch a nap. Kyle, he probably needs to go catch a nap as well. Crazy schedule that we do.
Saul Goode.
Have a good night, everybody.
Saul and Lex, they're who's hosting the next episode. I got your back, man. I got your back.
Oh, yeah. Take care. Thank you, JD. Thank you, Kyle. Thank you, wrestling fans.